President Biden rallying the troops at a DNC event. Let's bring in former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, former South Carolina Governor, Nikki Haley. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Brett.
You know, the president is hitting this hard, as are Democrats around the country. Is this issue on abortion after the Dobbs case, overturning Roe v. Wade, a big problem for Republicans?
You know, and we're traveling around the country. We have been for over a year now. And what I can tell you is the top issues that we're hearing about, number one, hands down, the economy. It's costing people more money at the gas pump, and that's how they get to work. It's costing them more money at the grocery store. That's how they feed their families. The second issue is crime and the border. People want their kids to be able to ride their bikes down the street and not worry. They're worried about what's happening at the border. And we had enough fentanyl to come across the border in July that would kill every single American. The third thing we're hearing about education. Parents are panicked. They don't know what their kids are being taught in school. And they also know that we had a problem with education pre-COVID. It's even worse post-COVID. And then they realize that we've got foreign policy threats around the world that make them wonder if we're safe here at home. And so those are the top issues. Abortion ends up coming fifth in what I hear in the road. But I think at the same time, you know, we look at the fact that it's a very important issue, and one that unelected justices didn't need to decide. And the fact that every state's getting to decide that, and the people closest to it are being able to have their voices heard, that's a good thing for America.
Here's the other talking point. It is about MAGA. It is about extremism. The president's hitting it every stop. Take a listen.
The extreme set of MAGA Republicans has chosen to go backwards, full of anger, violence, hate, and division. And that's what their game is.
Your reaction?
The only anger, violence, and hatred that I'm hearing is from Joe Biden. I mean, his speech the other day, he looked like he was in the depths of hell, sitting there talking about half the country is bad just because we want life to go back to normal, just because we want our dollars to count, just because we want to know our kids are safe, just because we want to know that you know, we're not glorifying prisoners, but we're actually defending police. I mean, it's really the leftists that have gone so divided. And I'm telling you, across the country, we were campaigning for Dr. Oz yesterday. We were here for Herschel Walker and Brian Kemp here in Georgia today. We're headed to Tennessee tomorrow. Across the board, people don't have the luxury of politics. They are feeling the pain in their wallets. They're feeling it in their kids' schools, and they're feeling it on the streets. And I'm telling you that what Biden is doing is only separating us more. It's not bringing us together. And people want to love our country again, and they only want people to serve that are going to love our country. And that's why I think that we're going to have a strong November.
So you're bouncing around. You have a feeling about things. If you look at the polls, let's say for the generic congressional races, the Real Clear Politics average has shifted now with Democrats at 44.8%. And you have people like Speaker Pelosi saying they're going to hold the House. Take a listen.
Let me remove all doubt in anyone's mind. Democrats intend to hold the House. In fact, we intend to grow our numbers. People vote about their kitchen table and what it means to them.
But hearing you hear and see something different on the trail.
She can dream all she wants, Brett. I'm telling you, we were with Zach Nunn in Iowa. He's a fantastic pickup seat. We're going to see. We're going to Jennifer Ruth Green and campaign for her in Indiana. She's going to be a great pickup. We've got great candidates across the board. I think we're going to win the House comfortably. In terms of the Senate, it's only one seat, but that's easier said than done. But I'm telling you, our candidates have really stepped up, and we've got great candidates, but we all need to show up. We need to show up and vote. We need to show up and contribute. And that's why I hope everybody listening will go to standforamericapac.com and help us get these candidates elected. We've already endorsed over 50 candidates, raised them over $4.5 million that's gone directly into their campaign accounts. And when they reach Congress, I think we're going to start to see things get better.
Usually people who bounce around the country like this, supporting different candidates, run for future office. When do you make a decision whether you're going to run for president, and whether former President Trump decides or not, does that affect you?
Well, you know, I think that we're focused on governor's races. We've got 36 governor's races that are important. So we're helping governor candidates, House candidates, and Senate candidates win in November. If we don't win in 22, there won't be a 24. And then I don't think I have to make a decision until after that. And look, I've said for a long time, if there's a place for me and I put my hat in, I've never lost a race. I'm not going to start now. We'll put 1,000% in and we'll finish it. But, right now, all eyes are on November, and I think that's where we need to stay focused. And this is not the time to be, for our candidates to be arrogant. We need to be humble, we need to be disciplined, and we need to be focused on what solutions we have that can lift up all Americans.
And that decision will come whether the former president gets in or not.
Well, I think we'll read the tea leaves after that, and I've always said if there's a place for me, we'll go, but we'll see what's going to happen. Last
thing, you mentioned foreign policy and concern. We talk a lot about terrorism, but we haven't really covered it a lot. Ayman al-Zawahiri killed in Afghanistan. You're worried about terrorism worldwide. I'm very worried about terrorism. We're coming across the anniversary of 9/11, and that's when America woke up and realized that evil truly does exist. My concern is right now evil is at our front door. Iranians know that the easiest way to get into America is through the southern border, and we're not doing anything to make sure that we're fully protecting that border. We saw 50+ terrorists already crossed that we knew of. You've got all these people that came in from Afghanistan, and now we're finding out they weren't vetted. We're watching Iran continue to say death to America, but Biden's falling all over himself to give them a sweetheart deal, which is lunacy. We're watching China go and continue to try and take as much data as they can and really try and push their weight around so that they can take better control. We're watching the fact that there's a war in Ukraine, and we wouldn't have a war in Ukraine with Russia had we not seen that devastating debacle in Afghanistan. So it's a time that we have to stop being naive, and we have to start understanding that when we are strong, the world is more safe. When we are weak and distracted, then our enemies come out. Former ambassador to the United Nations, former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, thanks for the time. Thanks, Bret.